Hey, so there are some great things you can say as a coach to your players, but what about the things you should not say to your players? There's quite a few of them, and a lot of coaches and parents say these things to the players, and it's really detrimental, okay? And the things that I'm talking about are things such as the conditions were awful, the weather was terrible, the opponents were really rough and physical, they can't have been the same age, they must have been older, the referee was awful, they gave everything that way. All of those things get said over and over again in grassroots football, in academy football. And as people, not just children, but as people, adults as well, we love excuses, okay? We love excuses that we can shift the blame with. And if you as the coach or the parent start putting that message out there after a game, for instance, the referee maybe hasn't given you the fair share of decisions and has maybe made a few mistakes. If you're the coach or the parent and you go to the players and you say, oh, the referee was awful, what happens is the players start using that mentality. Right, let's not look at myself, let's look at the surroundings and things that I can't control. The players will never be able to control weather, they'll never be able to control the officials, they'll never be able to control the size and the style of their opponents. All they can control is their own behaviours, their own habits, their energy levels, their decisions, things like that, okay? So as a coach or a parent, when you're dissecting a game, when you're doing a debrief, when you're in the car, never talk about the referee, never talk about the conditions, never talk about the size of the players on the other team, never talk about how physical they were, okay? Certainly not first. Okay, if your youngster wants to say something on those lines, then you can say, yeah, maybe right, the referee wasn't probably great today, but let's think about us and get them back onto thinking about themselves rather than outside things that they can't control. This is so important because we want the players to be accountable, okay? And we want the players to hold themselves accountable. So at the end of a game, never start talking about the referee, never start talking about any of those other elements, as well as 100 other things. Put the onus on what you've done as a team and what they've done as a squad. And then you'll find that if you keep doing that, over the course of some time, the players at the end of each training session or at the end of each match will come in and they'll start thinking, right, what did I do well? What can I change? What didn't I do so well? Rather than straight away shifting all responsibility, all accountability and all blame, I suppose, onto other different things that they can't control. This is so important, and you want your club to have a policy as well on how you speak about games after they've happened. So no one should criticise the referee. That's the parents. The coach will lead from the front. Obviously, they should never criticise the referee, but you want the parents to buy into that as well. And if you get everyone on board, what you do is you produce young players who are really responsible for their own actions and their own performances, and they don't look to become a victim and shift blame. This is so important. It's not just a football lesson, it's a life lesson. So from now on, if you're a coach and you're doing a little bit of a debrief and emotions are running high at the end of a match, maybe the referee made some bad calls, if your players come in and they start venting and airing frustrations towards the referee, sit your team down and say, yeah, maybe referee wasn't great, but let's think about us because we could have done this different, or we could have done that different, or we did this really well, but we didn't do this quite as well. Forget about the referee. He hasn't lost us the game, okay? Or he hasn't impacted the game as much as you think. We're in control of what we can do. Did we do things well? Did we do things in the right way? Forget about the referee, not important. Let's think about us because that's what we can affect. We can't affect him or her, okay? That's one way of dealing with that problem, and you'll find that the players follow you. The coach is the leader, the parents are the leaders. If you set up the right information, they'll follow in the way that you want and the way that is best for them, okay? Let me know what you think. Start doing this with your team. You'll see a huge difference.